All right, guys, welcome to Nobody's Listening, So Who Cares? I am your co-host, Sam, and joining me, as always, is your co-host, Spencer. We have a very special guest today. I mean, I have to say special, but it is my friend Dempson, Dempson Juvenal. How you doing, dude?
I'm good. I was honored when you said special, and then when you said you have to say special, then I immediately got sent back down to where I was. So, that's a good way of like centering things.
Yeah, keeping you zen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never, when you're on Clubhouse and they said they have to reset the room, I've never like seen like an introduction that reset the room before.
There
That was
we
incredible.
go. Yeah, we're there. That's where we're at.
We just got to make sure we're all on the same level. That's very important. Equality and all that.
I love it.
I think that's how that works, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's in our contract. We have to say special. For our producers, we have to say everybody's special.
Gotcha. Yeah, I get it.
But Noah was very special when we had him on.
Yeah, in a different way. But anyway, yeah, man. So a little background: Dempson and I worked together on a show. Got to know each other pretty well. He's a pretty funny guy, comedian. Yeah, so I just wanted to have him on. Say some funny stuff, talk about the show. Yeah, I don't know.
Do it. Say something funny. Yeah.
Say something funny.
Can I curse? No. Yeah, I guess I'm a comedian. I guess it's just that's one of those things one of those words that I really took. It took a really long time for me to actually get used to calling myself. I don't. It's a tough thing. When you start calling yourself a comedian, and then at that point there's expectations, at a certain, there's like a difference between like being the funny guy at work and then being a comedian. Cause like once you start telling people that you're a comedian, they're like, oh, there goes the comedian saying something funny again. Ha 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 ha. Yeah. But if like you're the funny guy at work, it's just like, oh man, that guy's so funny. You should be a comedian.
Yeah. I've heard this from comedians. Like when you tell someone you're a comedian, do you get like, oh, tell me a joke? Is that actually happen a lot?
Yeah, for sure. I tend to avoid it at any cost. I don't tell people about what I do, which is like, not great. I probably should tell people about the stuff I do, but I don't like, being funny on the spot. It's strange. It's strange. It's like the thing is always like, I don't come to where you work and ask you to like, or not even that. I don't know. What is it?
Yeah. You don't meet a person and you're like, hey, Sam, you work on TV shows? Like make me a TV show or like pitch me this, shoot me. Hey, get my good side. Like that. I feel like that's gotta be the most awkward thing you can even encounter.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things where like I can't imagine what it's like for somebody who's actually like making money and doing it. I mean, I'm just now starting to make money and doing it, which is nice, but I'm not anywhere near where like people would know me or anything. I'm very behind the scenes and stuff.
Well, after this podcast, that's not gonna change.
Yeah. Do you do stand up?
I do a little stand up. I did a lot of. I got like really into stand up in like 2019, and I took a break because I started doing the show I do like a little bit more seriously. I started taking it more seriously, so I kind of like took a break from doing stand up, and then like 2019, I was just straight up like I don't want to, or 2020. I mean, I don't want to do Zoom stuff. I can't do Zoom comedy, even though that's what I'm doing. I can't be on Zoom shows being like, where's everybody come from? Where's everybody from? The camera's on.
Yeah,
I want to hear those laughs.
I want to get into the show in a second, but I want to ask you, so when did you realize, because you haven't always done comedy, right?
No.
So what clicked? Like, when did you get to a point you're like, hey, were you just like, hey, I'm pretty funny, everybody laughs when I talk, should I just try to make money off this? Or like, how did that come about?
I grew up in Florida. I'm like the child of immigrants who like work, like blue collar workers, we're not, this has never been a thing that I've ever thought could be a career until I became an adult, essentially. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it was like a kind of thing where I don't have like a pinpoint moment where like I realized that I was funny, but ever since I can remember, I've always been like the funny guy in class or the funny guy in at work. But I never like I'm not trying to be, that's just like the way I am, I guess. And it wasn't until like pretty much like college where I was just like, I think I need to try this or else I'm gonna feel my entire life I could have had a career in something I kind of like doing.
Yeah.
And I like did my first improv class like my last year in Florida, like my last year of college, and I was like, damn, this is fun. And this is cool. And if I can do this, then I think I can do anything.
Dude, comedy's hard. Like,
when you really got to put yourself out there too, like especially like improv. I mean, I remember going. I think we all at all the colleges, the college that I went to, we had an improv class or improv show every Saturday night, and I remember like we would go just as friends or whatever. We would go. It's a fun event. We would take people. We didn't take it all too seriously, but I remember like sometimes it was really funny, and other times people really put themselves on the spot, and it did not land. And they tried things, and it was like, man, like I could not imagine being that person up there, just letting it all go. And then, hey, that doesn't work. I'm going to take that and realize that doesn't work, but hey, this really worked. And so I'm going to work on that. But just to put yourself out there is in my opinion, so brave and so, at risk of embarrassment. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's what's tough about improv is that like it's the most like vulnerable art form there is, and it also most like 90% of it sucks. And it's just it. If you're going to a good improv show, God bless you, because it's either you paid a lot of money and they're like real professionals, or you just got lucky. That being said, I've maybe had one good improv show in my entire life. I very much like stand up more because there is a lot of like you need your improv skills when you're doing stand up, because you have to like do crowd work. You gotta work with an audience, but you can also always fall back on material, and you can't do that in improv.
Yeah. Do you feel that, I guess my question is, have you ever bombed? And if so, how did you recover from that?
I remember the first time I ever got on stage in LA when I first moved. A friend of mine asked me to be in one of his sketches that he wrote for UCB. Used to have this. I say used to, but I guess it's used to because they don't have that theater anymore. But UCB on Sunset had like an open mic for sketches. And he wrote a sketch like in one day, and he was just like, "Hey, can you come? I just need one guy to like walk across the stage and say something funny." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll do it." And I was reading the sketch. I was like, "This is really funny. I really like the sketch." And he got like 4 people together to do the sketch. And I was excited. I was like actually kind of nervous. I was just like, I have one line, but if I screw it up, then it's like the whole sketch. But it's like at the same time, it's like the only other people in the audience are other people who are about to perform too. So it didn't matter. And we did the sketch, and no good, no laughs. And but it's like one of those things where like when I was on stage and I said my one line, I remember I had like a beach towel. The beach towel was my prop, and I was really into the beach towel. I was just like, I'm gonna like work the hell out of this, and I just like did a lot of movements with it and everything, and it didn't feel bad. That's the thing. It didn't feel as bad as I thought it was going to. Like bombing only feels bad if you're actually like invested in the material. I think if you like, since I didn't write that, I didn't feel like that bad. But I have had stuff of mine bomb where I'm not actually performing it, or it's stuff I perform has bombed before. But like the worst is when you write something for someone else and they're performing it and it just doesn't come out good in their mouths, and you're just like. I guess I guess I should quit and move back home and never speak of this ever again.
That just makes me think of the Bart Simpson meme where he's just like falling back into the bushes.
Yeah, for sure. Oh man, that's most comedy is is being in the bushes, and then like when you think of something funny, you come out of the bush real quick. You say like, oh, what if a duck farted, and then you go back into the.
You look around. Does anybody laugh? And then if not, you just.
Is that something?
Well, it's just so crazy because comedy is so subjective.
Yep.
And one person like a whole, and the thing is too is it's and that's you're talking about the Zoom comedy is. I mean, I remember I've like gone to shows where I've seen like almost the exact same bit of them like in their special or whatever online. And then I've gone to their actual show and I thought it was so much funnier because I'm actually feeding off the energy. It's like that whole crowd thing where you're laughing because everyone around you is laughing and like it feels different. So, but it's so subjective because you could say that same joke in a totally different place. A joke that kills in Seattle isn't necessarily going to kill in Birmingham, Alabama. Because like those are very different crowds.
Yeah, I've been dealing with that like for the entire time I've ever done comedy, mainly because a lot of times I'll write something, I'll write a sketch or something, I'll make a video and I'll post it, and my parents share it, stuff like that.
Yeah,
but my parents don't understand. My parents aren't laughing at it. They don't like. I think the weirdest compliment I ever got from a video was like, it was like right when the pandemic started. I did a parody of "Wannabe" by Spice Girls, but it was about Hobbs and Shaw, and it ended with like talking about how Idris Elba got coronavirus. And I posted that on Facebook, and both my parents like shared it, and I asked them like, "What did you think of the video?" And they were like, "You're so smart." Which is like it's them just saying like I didn't understand it, but I'm sure it made other people laugh.
That's funny.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, Sam, you said your mom listens to every episode of the podcast. Shout out to my family who I spoke to today. Actually, it's Easter, by the way. For anybody who's listening, happy Easter. I'm sure this is going to get released tomorrow. So
he is risen.
He is risen indeed. And I talked to my mom. My mom convinced me to give a shout out to my niece, my nephew, and everybody. But I feel like it's the same thing. My mom, I think, tried to listen to 5 minutes until it got to the part where I cursed, and then she stopped listening, or Sam cursed, and then they stopped listening. But, I feel like it is that my parents haven't scolded me for it, at least not yet. But it's like, oh yeah, you do that with your friend. Like, this is a nice little fun thing that we're gonna joke about with your older sister, and it is what it is. But I feel like it's that kind of same thing. Our parents don't really understand the idea of, hey, we're just gonna sit every Sunday, talk for 45 minutes, and then just put it out on into the universe. I just think it's
making
a really
you do
weird
this?
Thing. Yeah.
Where's the gun at? Is it just off screen?
You need money? You can ask for money.
But honestly, like in all seriousness, like just even starting the podcast, I mean, we had talked about it for a while, and just sitting down and being like, let's do it and put it out there is like nerve wracking, even though, the title is nobody's listening. We're not expecting anybody to listen, but like the chance that anybody does or someone we don't know is it's something out of your comfort zone for sure.
We almost feel like you're gonna offend people if they don't listen. But the whole point is, if they don't listen, then who cares? If you're the only one who, I think that was the mantra or the idea behind us making this, Sam, is just like, hey, we want to do this. If nothing else, it's something not to chronicleize our friendship, but to express our friendship in some form, to be this little like audio journal. We could always go back 30 years from now and be like, hey, grandkids, look what I did when I was 20, and they're going to be like, what? Like, it's all like 5 seconds.
What's a podcast?
Yeah, we just TikTok now.
Or they're just going to like speak telepathically to each other or something.
Well, that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is your podcast an NFT?
Yeah.
I don't know what kids are into.
Well, speaking of TikTok, Dempson, I saw you recently made a TikTok and you got some you got some funny stuff on there. Do you wanna plug your TikTok or talk about kind of what kind of content you're making on there?
I guess so. I was really reluctant to join TikTok. I think mainly like the same reason everybody is, just because it seems like it's a bunch of kids, kids singing and dancing, and I'm like, that's not what I don't feel like I belong. But you know what? I just like any adult, I'm forcing myself in there, and it's the thing that's bothered me the most about TikTok is seeing other teenagers like nostalgia. I don't want to see teens nostalgia. They like there's this like one trend that's going around where people are like they're playing a song from Alvin and the Chipmunks the movie, and they're just like, slow this down, it's gonna ruin your childhood.
Yeah. I saw that.
Kids are talking about how Alvin and the Chipmunks is like the movie they grew up on, and that's that is so like that put me in a spiral for like 3 days. I didn't recover from that one.
I feel the same way. Sam sent me a text once that said, we need to cater some more of our bits or something towards TikTok, and I was like, okay. How do you do that? Sam manages the TikTok. I don't have anything to do with it. He sends it to me, and I'm like, why is there just a bunch of stuff going all over? And what does this mean? And he's like, it's good. It's good.
I don't know how to use it, but I'm trying.
I feel like I like you guys' TikTok. I think it's like you're doing exactly what a podcast for a TikTok should be, or the other way around. TikTok for a podcast should be is just it's just clips from it with GIFs.
Yeah, that's all it is. That's all it is. Well, like honestly though, TikTok is a great avenue for just organic like discovery. Content. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because the algorithm is so crazy, and you can just see that. That's the whole thing. Is almost every other social media, like you don't really see content from people you don't follow. Except for TikTok. TikTok, you see content from tons of people you don't follow, but that is catered towards something that you might be interested in.
Yeah, I'm on that For You page more than I am on my following page, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it's just, I mean, like, I just don't believe the numbers sometimes, because, like, I got a video that got, like, over, like, 2,000, like, views that was, like, specifically, it was a video of my dog, and I was like, okay, so like I should probably post more dog stuff. And I posted another dog thing. I got like 20 views. And I'm like, so what is this? What are we doing here? What?
I know, it's so weird. But because I was talking to someone about the TikTok algorithm, and so our first video got like 500 views. And then I don't think we've broken 200 since. We get like 160 consistently.
Yeah.
But I've heard that your first video, they pump it. To get you kind of hooked.
Yeah, they gotta get you addicted.
So I didn't know that, because otherwise I would have posted like our best video first. And the one I posted was probably not our best. But you live and you learn.
Yeah, can't do that twice. You just make a new nobody's listening TikTok.
Nobody's listening 2, nobody's listening 3, nobody's listening 4.
500 plus views on every single TikTok we make. We just have 18 different TikTok accounts.
That's the way.
Yeah. So, Dempson, real quick. So, I know you mentioned you working on a show. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that and what it is that you do on it? Because it is interesting.
Sure. Yeah. So before the pandemic, I worked on a show called Your Late Night Show Tonight at the Pack Theater in Los Angeles. It's a late night show, like a live late night show that in a theater that is hosted by a different comedian every month. So every month we have a different. So essentially, it would just be like watching a late night show, but every month it's hosted by someone different, it's a lot of fun. We've had people like Colton Dunn from Superstore. We've had Jerry Minor from Mr. Show. We've had our last live one was El Jefe from the band NoFX. He was really cool. It was a lot of fun. But then this whole coronavirus thing kicked off, and we were like, how are we going to do this? And we moved to the Pack Theater's Twitch channel, which ended up being very fun and fruitful experience. It was like super cool to try to translate our live show into something we'd never tried before.
Mhm.
And we did pretty much like a year of that, like from April to November. And then our December show, we moved to a different venue that was a bigger venue, online venue, and it was one that specifically caters to Zoom comedy, Zoom stand up specifically. They never had anything like a late night show before, so that was fun. And that's been cool, especially because like we've been able to get like big guests. Like our first one was Alonzo Bowden, and that was really cool. To like George Wallace was the guest for that one. And George Wallace is a legend. But and this month we got Jackie Cation, who is also a legend in her own right. I love Jackie Cation. And we got a special guest, Margaret Cho. So
nice.
yeah, that's this Friday, not this Friday, but the Friday after next.
So what's the date of that?
That's
the 16th.
That's going to be Friday the 16th.
Okay.
At 9 p.m. Pacific time on rushtix.com. Get your tickets at rushtix.com.
Okay.
Yeah, what a plug.
You have to send me the link and I can put it on our YouTube.
I will. Yeah, I will. For sure.
So that's awesome. Well, it's pretty cool how you guys are able to adapt. I mean, so many media outlets have not done well going to like the Zoom and, remote entertainment.
I hate being that person. I really hate being that person, but like the pandemic was really good for us. It's the most like, I whenever people say it, I get like a little like, don't say that. Half a million people are dead in the United States. But yeah, no, it was very good for us in the sense of like growing this show and expanding. It was really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, yeah, like I said, I'll put the link in our YouTube. So if you're listening to this, go to our YouTube, check it out. Get your tickets. You got a couple weeks, so you'll no excuses. All right, so we're gonna move to our next segment. We're gonna do a top 4 today. We have a really fun category. Spencer, you came up with the category, so why don't you introduce it?
That's right. I decided, I don't really know where this came from. I think Sam texted me, what should we do for top 4? And I just, had this somewhere stored in the back of my head. So we're going to do the top 4 movies in which an actor plays multiple roles. So, or what's called dual rolling or something like that. Yeah. There'll be plenty of examples by the first one that we share. I'm sure that you'll get the hang of it. Yeah.
So we're going to do snake draft like we did last time. So the first person goes, the second person goes, the third person goes twice, and then it goes backwards. Mm-hmm. So Dempson, you're the guest. We'll let you go first. And Spencer, I went last time, so you'll go last this time.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
Dempson, lead us
off. Great. So there's only one here on my list that I'm actually afraid of someone taking. So I'm going to go ahead and do that one first.
Okay.
For my first pick of the movies where one actor plays multiple roles draft is Nutty Professor 2, The Clumps.
No.
You got to scratch it off my list now.
Yeah.
Right, come on.
Nutty Professor 2, The Clumps. We got Eddie Murphy playing his entire Clump family, plus Buddy Love. We gotta give love to Buddy Love, and this is the only Eddie Murphy in a fat suit movie that wasn't nominated for Best Makeup at the Oscars.
It wasn't nominated.
It wasn't nominated. So this is me rectifying that and giving it some love. It was also the first DVD that I ever owned.
Fun fact.
Yeah. This must be very special to you. I've never seen it. I don't know if that's a controversial take, but
I haven't either. But
you must rectify this. You have to watch it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll go with my number 2. I'm going to go with The Social Network.
Oh, nice.
A lot of people don't realize this, but Armie Hammer played the Winklevoss twins, which I didn't really realize that till later on. Social Network is actually one of my favorite movies. Not a Armie Hammer supporter, just got to throw that one out there.
Borderline cannibal, right?
I'm not really into cannibalism, but great movie. David Fincher, Jesse Eisenberg. iconic movie. So I do love that movie. So I'm going with Social Network. Not as funny of a take, but
I wanted to make sure I didn't have anybody who was canceled on my list. So
okay,
I appreciate it, Dempson. I really do.
No canceled people.
Yeah.
So for my first one of my favorite movies of all time from probably my favorite director of all time, it's going to be Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb, in which Peter Sellers plays not only the titular character, Dr. Strangelove, but two other characters throughout the film. And I remember talking to people about this movie. I actually, in college, I took a film class and we watched this movie on the big screen. And when the professor asked, like, how many of you knew that there's one actor that plays all three? Like, not everybody knew that. I mean, I knew who Peter Sellers was. I'm a big Pink Panther fan. But I thought that was very interesting. He did such a dynamic role in all three of those parts that a lot of people don't even realize it's the same person. And it's a fantastic movie, by the way. If you haven't seen that, for anybody who's listening, you should definitely rectify that, as Dempson said, about the clumps. So movie number one, The Clumps. Right after that, Dr. Strangelove. I'm sure it's a good doubleheader. And then for my second one, I chose Face Off. Face Off, in which Nick Cage starts out the movie playing Nick Cage and then gets a face transplant to be John Travolta. And the movie just says face transplant, but they seem to have completely different body types, but the movie just doesn't explain it. And then John Travolta, who starts the movie playing John Travolta, becomes Nicolas Cage, and then they fight as both good and it's wild. It's absurd. And at the same time, it's absolutely amazing. So those are my number one and two picks.
That was going to make my list for sure, but then I made the arbitrary rule for me that the actor has to act against himself. That was my dumb rule that I did, which also ruled out Social Network, because did you know that Army Hammer did a scene with himself? He always did it with or there was like a whole actor who was playing someone else. I don't know. It's weird. Actually, you know what? Army Hammer's fine. I'm dumb. Go ahead.
Okay. Anyway, all right. I'm gonna go with The Parent Trap. Lindsay Lohan. So actually, I grew up watching the original Parent Trap from like the 60s. I don't remember who the actress that plays that role, but I'm going to go with Lindsay Lohan, Parent Trap, because everybody knows that one. You got Dennis Quaid playing the dad. It's just a classic flick, one that we grew up on.
For sure.
You know, Lindsay Lohan, I did grow, like when she was before her like big meltdown, I had like definitely a crush on her. Like a Herbie Fully Loaded time of life. Like I thought she was very attractive at that point when I was like a freshman in high school.
Mean Girls.
Mean Girls. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So, but the Parent Trap was a classic.
When's the last time you watched it? Does the English accent that she has in that movie, does it hold up?
Dude, I haven't seen a movie since I was a kid, so honestly, I don't remember. But
because I remember, I remember I was like, how is there a British version of them? Like, did this happen in real life? When I was a kid, I couldn't conceptualize because I thought it was so good and so believable. But I don't think it holds up.
You thought that there was like some sort of sorcery that they committed? Nancy Myers is like a shaman.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah.
All right, Dempson, you have two in a row.
2 in a row. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, my next one is going to be I'll do this. Since I wanted to also, the other rule I wanted to arbitrary rule I had was that the actor that is playing multiple roles had to play more than just one other role, several roles.
Okay.
So
I didn't follow that role.
Yeah. So I was going to choose adaptation.
Oh, see, that's what I thought you were going to choose.
Because I love Charlie Kaufman. I love Charlie Kaufman's. But I chose another Charlie Kaufman movie, a movie that he directed. It's called Anomalisa. It's a stop motion movie where about a guy who he's like a motivational speaker, and he checks into a hotel to do a motivational conference. And he's got this like thing going on in his brain, like some sort of problem where everyone looks and sounds the same to him, and everybody looks and sounds like Tom Noonan. Tom Noonan is the actor who plays everyone in that movie, other than Jennifer Jason Leigh, who plays the titular Lisa. Tom Noonan is great. He's got a very monotone voice. He's truly like one of my favorite actors. He's in Heat. He's in what else? He's in another. He's in Synecdoche. He's in Manhunter. Oh man, he's in a bunch of stuff. He's so good. It's one of those things that if you ever get a chance to watch that movie, that's a good movie. I love that movie a lot.
Okay, I just looked him up. I didn't know who he was. Okay, I recognize him for sure. Anomalisa. Oh, that came out in 2015.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty recent.
Yeah. All right, Dempson, what's your third one?
Oh, my third one is it's going to be the movie Cloud Atlas.
Oh,
the true.
Yeah, the true. I had to bring the true to the podcast. I'm sorry. And in this one, everyone plays different roles. It's incredible. If you've never seen Cloud Atlas, do yourself a little bit of a favor. It got a lot of flack when it came out because every character plays it takes place in 6 different time periods. Like 3 of them are in the future, but which means that, and everybody's like, there's a bunch of like different race people in the cast, so that means a lot of people have to play different races, and there was a lot of problems with Ben Wishaw's yellow face that a lot of people were mad about. But what people never talked about was the fact that we also had like people of color playing white people, and there's like a ton of people of color. It was like just straight up white face, and it's very funny to watch. Not funny, but it's like it's satisfying. It's satisfying when like all of it like kind of works together, and like a Japanese actress who's like you're watching the entire movie ends up being Halle Berry's mom in a different like timeline. That's
Don't
kind
spoil
of
it.
Well, I mean, it's kind of a spoiler, but at the same time, it's like that's the thing that's going to make you want to watch the movie is finding out that happens, So yeah, I really love that movie, and I love the Wachowskis. All their movies are about how corporations want to turn people into batteries. So I love that movie.
There you go. Well, yeah, I was like, I haven't seen a whole lot of movies where actors play multiple roles. So I was going to watch Cloud Atlas, and then I just realized I didn't have the time. But a movie I did watch was Enemy with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh, I love Enemy.
So I did use it. So I didn't really like the movie until I looked up what it meant.
Oh, okay.
And now I kind of like it. Because I was very confused the whole time. I didn't know what was going on. It's such a monotone movie. The whole movie, there's such little dialogue, and it's basically Jake Gyllenhaal discovers that there's another person who looks and sounds exactly like him but has a different life. Mm-hmm. And it's all like kind of symbolic in a lot of ways, and I'm not going to spoil it, but it actually is really interesting. After I watched the whole thing and I looked up what the meaning was, and actually like I had a feeling what it was, but I still was confused. But actually it's an interesting movie. It's not like a 5-star, but it's, if you like kind of more out there, slower movies, you would like it. And that's my third. Spencer, you got 2 more. Yeah, it was interesting.
All right. My last 2. So I looked this up and tried to see if it actually fits. And if I do say this, it's kind of a spoiler. It's The Prestige.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I had that.
I really don't want to spoil it. If you haven't watched it, just stop now, watch the movie, and then pick up the podcast or whatever. I mean, you're not.
Yeah, but that movie's been out for a long time.
Yeah, I don't really feel too bad if you haven't seen it. It's absolutely amazing, and technically there's 2.
Yeah, 2006. They've had 15 years.
Yeah, there's technically 2 actors who play multiple roles in it. Both Christian Bale, which is the main performance that I think is the main spoiler of the movie. But that whole twist and the way that is handled is fantastic. And when you watch the movie
Christopher
again,
Nolan.
yeah, when you watch the movie from beginning to end, again, knowing the twist, it makes it even better because the entire time you're also thinking of Hugh Jackman, because you see that and you see how he plays multiple roles and multiple characters and that whole process, and you're kind of fixed on that idea, so you don't really see the other one coming. It's like it's pure sleight of hand in a film all about magic and sleight of hand and all these different things, which is a really cool idea. And for the fourth one, when you brought up Anomalisa, I was thinking of choosing Being John Malkovich, which Sam, me and you have had multiple talks of as well. If you've never seen this movie, be prepared. Sam texted me one night and said, "Have you ever seen Being John Malkovich?" And I said, "Yeah, a wild movie." He goes, "Yeah, like wild movie. What the hell was any of it about?" And it's so bizarre.
It's Charlie Kaufman.
There are entire scenes where everybody becomes John Malkovich. And I think it's a movie that's very hard to derive meaning from. It's so specific. It's so bizarre. But at the same time, it was enjoyable all the way through. And there's some really cool stories about that movie and the making and all of that. So that would be my fourth and final pick.
Yeah.
I love Being John Malkovich. That's a masterpiece. I love that movie so much.
I think I watched it probably 4 or 5 months ago, Dempson. I remember coming to work and I was like, dude, have you seen Being John Malkovich? I feel like we had like a full conversation about it.
We must have.
Yeah, I think we did.
I just watched it again and for the first time since I saw it as a kid.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, that movie hit so hard for me.
Yeah.
It's like that movie is so good. That was just and you know what's so good about Malkovich's performance is the fact that he everybody's playing through him, and he's so good at being other. You talk about John Travolta and Nick Cage playing each other in Face Off. Those are really good performances, and they're very funny in those movies. But John Cusack as or Malkovich as Cusack is so. That's just transcendent. It's so good.
It's great. Yeah. So my last one is, prefacing it, it's a Michael Bay film. It's the only Michael Bay film that I can stand. It's called The Island. A lot of people have not seen this movie. It's not a great movie. Let's be honest. It's not a great movie, but I do love that movie. In high school, I discovered it. I think I pirated it by accident, and I loved it. And it's
accident.
I don't want to spoil it either but basically Ewan McGregor and Scarlett Johansson play multiple roles in that movie together. And it's, for a Michael Bay film, it's great. I love it. There's the action and explosions, the unnecessary explosions that you would expect from a Michael Bay film. But it was Michael Bay before he had $200 million budget. And before he was just trying to make his movies for China. So it has a little bit better content. It has the story's better than just Transformers 8 or whatever he's making now.
Yeah, but what a cash cow. I mean, would you really want to mess that up?
Well, it depends on if you have morals or anything. So if I didn't, then no, I wouldn't. But good thing I do.
Pain and Gain is the Michael Bay movie I love.
Yeah, I feel like I didn't hate that movie.
I love that movie. That movie is exactly what I feel like we've talked about this specifically, but that movie is what everybody was saying about Wolf of Wall Street, but actually true. I really love Pain and Gain because it's everybody talked about Wolf of Wall Street. It's excess, and it's all that. It's all on screen, for you to enjoy. Pain and Gain is made by someone who does that for a living.
Yeah, that's very true.
He does that. He does that, and he made a movie that was that. I know Pain and Gain's not the reason what we're talking about, but I love that movie, and I'll bring it up at any point.
That's fair. All right, Dempson, finish us off here. You're fourth.
All right, so yeah, I guess I'll finish off with something else that I'll bring up at any point. The prequels, Star Wars 2, Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. How can you not talk about the best multi-role ever is Tamora Morrison as Jango Fett and every clone? Come on, folks.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
I'm lately I'm an Attack of the Clones guy right now. I like the prequels. I really like them. I defend them to the death. And right now, I'm starting to like feel like Attack of the Clones might be the best one.
Oh, jeez.
It might be the best one, specifically because of all the stuff that happens in it that people like hate. It's just like the thing is, it's all good. It's actually all good. It's all good to discover that there's a clone plan happening through this like weird Obi-Wan, a detective story. It's good that Jar Jar essentially gives emergency powers to Palpatine because it's like showing how politics corrupts people into believing that like whatever's the best option is going to be what the loudest, whitest, oldest man is talking about. He's out here saying like I think there's some problem, but they don't even realize that it's him. They're literally magic wizards in the government, and they don't realize it's him. Come on, that movie is about how like politics corrupts everybody, including Jar Jar Binks, an idiot. And also it's
we should do a conspiracy corner one time about Jar Jar Binks actually being a Sith Lord. Because that's an interesting conspiracy theory.
I thought that was fun. But I'm not of the belief.
I don't think I am either, but it's fun to talk about.
I think it would have been better than how the new movies ended up. If it was actually Darth Jar Jar at the end of the last movie, I would be like, oh, I am in 1,000%.
Agreed.
Yeah. Well, speaking of conspiracy corner, that brings us to our conspiracy corner for the week. Yeah, we're fancy around here, dude. We got music. I need to come up with like a graphic that says conspiracy corner. But
yeah, no, I like it when it just cuts to the black screen.
Yeah,
I was expecting faces all small.
Yeah, I was expecting like SVU letters to come up that say conspiracy corners.
That could be kind of cool.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, Dempson he is bringing us the conspiracy corner for this week. So we do have a treat. You're not going to hear Spencer and I ramble. You're going to hear a different person ramble this time. So I'm excited.
This is a big ramble one for me.
Okay. Let's get into it.
Well, folks, I love movies. I love talking about movies. So the one thing I can have a conspiracy about is movies in general. And one of my favorite ever conspiracy videos online is one, man, I wish I had the title in front of me, but it's essentially Back to the Future predicted 9/11.
I think that is the title of the video.
Every time I look up Back to the Future predicted 9/11, I have to scroll through like 3 pages on YouTube. So that's how you know it's good. That's how you know this video is good.
It's called, in all caps, Back to the Future, and then it goes to lowercase, predicts 9/11.
We need to link this in. We need to link this in.
I can link this. I'll link it in the YouTube. Yeah.
So this video, I'm not going to talk about the video. I'm going to talk about the content as if I am the man in the video, which means I'm going to have to repeat things a lot. In Back to the Future, if you've never seen it, it's about a kid who goes back in time with an old man. Not with an old man. The old man gets shot up because he stole plutonium. He gets killed by terrorists. And to escape, he gets in a time machine. The little kid Marty McFly gets in a time machine, and I'm doing a terrible job of explaining Back to the Future. He gets in the time machine and goes back to 1955. Anyway, so again, if you haven't seen the movie, I'm gonna be spoiling stuff. But also, dude, if you've never seen the movie, you're a weirder. You should watch that movie.
100%.
All 3 of them. But yeah, so I'm going around. I'm gonna be going around, but I want to specifically talk about how At the end of Back to the Future, Marty writes a letter to Doc Brown about him being shot by terrorists at the Twin Pines Mall. And when he arrives at that mall, when Marty arrives at the mall, the Twin Pines Mall, the time on the sign that says Twin Pines Mall is 1:16, which upside down, of course, is 9/11. Mm-hmm. The scene is full of 1:16. Even minutes after 1:16 has happened, it still says 1:16 on the clocks, meaning that's intentional.
By the way, for those who don't know, Back to the Future came out in 1985.
1985. Yeah. And it takes place in 1985. The present day takes place in 1985. When they go back in time, they go back 30 years to 1955. So in the scene where he hands them the letter, Marty hands him the letter and he says, "What's the meaning of this?" And Marty says, "You'll find out in 30 years." He's referring to the fact that he'll find out in 1985 that he's going to be shot by terrorists. But what if Zemeckis was talking to the audience in 1985? What if he was talking to the audience that in 2015, something was going to happen that was going to open our minds? So in that scene,
Zemeckis is the director. Sorry.
Yeah, Robert Zemeckis is the director of Back to the Future, all three of them, and also the director of another film. The Back to the Future 2 takes place in 2015. He goes into the future and then whatever. He goes to save the future or whatever. And in Back to the Future 2, there is a scene where they are like around a projection screen that is a window that they can change the channels for. That's like fun, it's fun to change the channels and you can change what's on the window, right? And one of the sites on the window is the World Trade Center, the two Twin Towers. And since it's like 1987, I think that movie came out, and they still thought that the technology was going to be like all like VCR, VHSs. So like it does like that scrolling scanning thing where like it kind of moves up.
Yeah.
But in that scene, if you don't know, there happens to be one upside down character. In all of any Back to the Future movie, there's no other character that's upside down other than this one character who happens to be Marty McFly's dad. So to him, he is seeing the towers fall. He is seeing the towers fall. He was watching a movie on October 2015 about the towers falling in Back to the Future. Guess what else came out in October 2015? The movie The Walk, about the man Philippe Petit, played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who puts a wire on the Twin Towers and walks it. Mm-hmm. Directed. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Directed by Robert Zemeckis. Robert Zemeckis directed two movies about the Twin Towers in October 2015. The Walk and the one that the Upside Down Man is watching in Back to the Future 2.
That is true, and they both released in October of 2015.
Yes.
Well, what's another weird thing too? They talk about the video is Marty McFly is wearing the exact same outfit that Joseph Gordon-Levitt is wearing in. Yeah, I'll share. Yeah,
what? This is the thing that really blew my mind. Is that this is Joseph Gordon-Levitt in The Walk. Now here's Marty McFly at the end of the end of Back to the Future 2.
Yeah.
Same outfit.
Yeah. Jeans, a red shirt, and the leather jacket looks the exact same. I mean, it has the pockets, the zipper, the little frills on his shoulders, it all looks the exact same. That was the thing that blew my mind.
It's not like generic enough to be like, oh, it's a coincidence. It's not. It just isn't. Anyway, this and in that scene, in the scene where he goes back in time at the end of the first one, what is Doc Brown doing? He's rigging a wire to a tower that gets struck.
Oh, and then if they
Come
when
on.
they zoom out, like they pan out or pull, they zoom out on the shot. There's like a 9 on a sign on the left, and then on the ground there's 2 streaks of fire that look like ones. So it literally looks like 9/11.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
So this is all of that is like crazy. And then the video gets into a place that I'm a little like it starts to lose me a little. But at the same time it doesn't. When it starts talking about how
the ultimate consciousness part.
Yeah. When it gets to whenever anybody's going back in time in or going time traveling in a Back to the Future movie, they are touching film. They are going through film. When Marty goes back in time the first time, he goes through a photo development booth. When he goes back in time at the end of the movie, he goes through a movie theater. And in Back to the Future 3, he goes through a drive-in. And this is specifically saying that like these movies are a link to 9/11, where everybody is like everybody like was collectively watching 9/11 when it happened. It was the time where everybody was focused on one thing for the like first time, and it's the most people ever focused on one thing. And saying it essentially, he goes on this rant about the movie screen being a monolith, like a 2001 monolith, and when you touch the monolith, you're awoken and you realize that we live in a simulation. I am not against the idea that 9/11 woke us up from a simulation. I'm not, and I think that was the last thing that ever happened to us, and we've just been repeating history ever since. But that's a conversation for another time.
Well, we're gonna do a full episode, a full conspiracy corner, hopefully soon, about the simulation theory.
Yeah, and there's a lot that goes into that.
There's so much that goes into it. So we're gonna like dive into it. But we've had a couple episodes already that have touched on simulation theory. But there's so many facets of simulation theory and so many different theories that go into it. That I'm excited. I'm really excited, but we have a lot of research to do before we go into that, because I really don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, and I do encourage everyone to watch this video that Dempson is referring to. Like Sam, we're gonna link it in our YouTube video. But the first maybe half, 3/4 of this video, it really starts to get you on board, and it doesn't seem all that outlandish, right? You're like, wow, that is weird. The only weird thing is that he does say twin towers, pines, towers,
pines or towers, the twin towers,
9/11
towers,
and they
towers.
The Statue of Liberty torch is right here, and 9/11, the towers fall, October, twin, pine, over and over again. And you're like, all right, man, I get it.
To this day, there has never been a more realistic depiction of 9/11 on film.
Yeah, except the actual film that we have of it, unfortunately.
Or the movies about 9/11.
Yeah. But
documentaries.
It really starts. There are moments of it where you're like, man, this guy's actually starting to make sense. This is wild. And then he just starts rapid firing, like Dempson said, this rant of just like, so everybody watch this. And now it's like screens popping up all over your screen. He's like, you watch this, you touch this. There's a monolith next to the ground zero where it is. 2 towers become one, and we all become one consciousness, and all of our eyes are opened, and we break free from our oppressors. And I'm like starting to watch it like, am I being recruited? Am I going to like start hailing somebody? Like what is going on? But
here's the thing is, you don't have to watch it now because Spencer just explained it to you. So we're good.
But yeah, I mean,
give them the views. They need the views.
Yeah. Get it from the 3rd page to the 1st. Come on. That's all we want.
Yeah. Well, I think that brings us to a good conclusion of the episode. We've been a little bit all over the place, which is what people have come to expect for this podcast. So we do love it. So Dempson, I appreciate you coming on. This was a lot of fun. We'll have to have you back on again in the future.
Yeah, for sure. I love talking absolute nonsense. I definitely got some some, more specific 2001 conspiracies that I love. Shining conspiracies. A lot of, we mentioned Kubrick earlier, but Kubrick's got a ton of conspiracies that I love.
Yeah, we'll have to have you back on and do some more stuff. But if you want to plug, what's your Instagram or TikTok? Where can people find you?
Sure, yeah. My Instagram is booedatcan. That's BOOEDATCANNES. Booedatcan. I've never spelled it out before. I don't know why I did that. My TikTok is easier. It's at Dempson Juvenal. My full name. I should just change everything to my name, huh? It's probably easier.
I like that Buddha Can. That's a really good name.
Yeah, I like it too. It's getting to the point where I'm like, I have to explain it every single time.
Or spell it out.
Yeah, spell it out more importantly. But you can follow me on those and also Your Late Night at Your Late Night on Instagram and all that stuff. The show's Instagram and that's where you'll find all the information. And also just go to rushtix.com. You'll find us over there. You find a picture of Jackie Cation and you go click on that and give us some money.
There you go. Give them your monies, people. And that's at Friday, April 16th at 6 p.m. East or Pacific time.
Yeah, or 9 p.m.
9 p.m.
9 p.m. Pacific. Yeah.
Okay. Way to go, Sam. Way
My
to go.
bad. Yeah. Well, that's why everybody comes on the show. Yeah. All right. Well, again, thanks for coming on, and we'll see you guys all next week.
See you guys.